President Trump is having thousands of ICE agents descend on our cities, using brutal force to hunt, harass, and harm those in our community.
Treason. And it's a complete waste of this committee's time to even bring it up, to try to grandstand over your fake agenda to destroy our country.
Well, the gentleman
related to terrorism. I will not yield to you on this subject, period.
Well,
it's offensive if you can't tell.
Thank you.
Silence, the time is mine.
The time belongs to the judge.
A sitting United States Congresswoman just stood up in the halls of Congress and threatened a civil war, not in a debate, not as a metaphor, on the House floor, in front of the entire country. And if that wasn't enough, she called ICE, Federal Immigration Enforcement, a terrorist organization, and then had the nerve to ask you, the American taxpayer, to foot the bill for it. But here's what the mainstream media is not going to show you. An Army Ranger, a man who actually served this country, got that microphone and looked her dead in the eye and called it exactly what it is: treason. And he said it twice. You need to see every second of this.
Whether intended or not, U.S. citizens and their businesses and property, shopholders and small business owners who are American citizens are caught in the middle of the reckless and inappropriate responses of ill-trained ICE agents, only to be left with broken windows and damaged storefronts to repair. Who pays for this? Workers and families, also U.S. citizens, drive home at the end of the day only to be snatched out of their cars by masked men with tactical gear and wind up with their windows smashed in. Who pays for this? This Sunday in St. Paul, Minnesota, over a dozen ICE agents broke down the front door of a napping U.S. citizen. They forced and trampled their way into his home, pointing their guns and yelling at his family, while this 4-year-old grandson cried. Republicans on the opposite side of the aisle, you can do better than this. You can stand up for Ms. Good, who was killed, the mother of 3, an American citizen, other American citizens, people who look like they think should be deported, people of color, American citizens who are brown, who are yellow, who are black, et cetera, stand up for the citizens of this country. Otherwise, you're going to see a civil war that is being created between ICE and the National Guard.
Jesus said we can be angry and not sin, so I'm going to give it my best shot right here. The amount of red herrings and false stuff that's being spewed for the premises behind this amendment is offensive. To tell the American people and us in this room that ICE is a terrorist organization and therefore TRIA should cover the losses? Are you freaking kidding me? If you look at the proximate cause, you talk about the laws not being followed. The previous administration fueled an invasion of our country by failing to secure our borders, by ignoring our laws, and now we have sanctuary cities who invited these people in, who served as accomplices to the crime, continuing to obstruct justice. The reality is Alejandro Mayorkas and all of his accomplices should be on trial today. And if we don't put them in jail for a really long time after due process and a trial, some future administration is going to think they can fuel an invasion, only we need to do more of it faster. Now you get mad because ICE is enforcing the laws that the previous administration failed to enforce and want the government to cover for your game. The invasion you're fueling of our country, it's treason. It's treason. And it's a complete waste of this committee's time to even bring it up, to try to grandstand over your fake agenda to destroy our country.
Well, the gentleman
related to
yield.
terrorism. I will not yield to you on this subject, period.
Well, thank
It's
you for being
offensive
such-
if you
thank you for
can't
being a
tell.
gentleman. Thank you for being a
Silence, the
gentleman.
time is mine.
Thank you
The
for
time
being a
belongs to
gentleman.
the
Care whose time it is.
The tenor order.
Remember
Lady-
January 6th.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time belongs to the gentleman from Ohio.
TRIA is a program that I support. Every contract I've entered into has a force majeure clause. And there are acts that are unanticipated, that are hard to insure the risk for. I don't think the program's perfectly designed. I wish I was here for the debate. Mr. Rose presented his amendment. I don't think I agree with the points. But I do think, hey, we probably don't have a perfect terrorism risk insurance program. But I applaud Mr. Flood, Mr. Cleaver for working together on a reauthorization. That's what we should be focused on today. The idea that we would defund ICE is probably about as dumb as defunding the police. But Minneapolis wanted to do both. And so, yes, I hope those people are held accountable. But the Financial Services Committee is not the committee of jurisdiction for that. So if you want to do that, go to one of the other committees, do your grandstanding somewhere else, and quit wasting our time in this committee. I yield back.
What you just watched is not a clip from a movie. That is the United States Congress in 2025. Maxine Waters stood at that microphone and called ICE, Federal Immigration Enforcement, a terrorist organization. And then she proposed that the government, meaning you, the taxpayer, foot the bill for it under the Terrorism Risk Insurance Act. Let that sink in. She wants your money to cover losses she's blaming on federal agents doing their jobs. But it gets worse. Before she was done, she dropped the words civil war, not as history, not as metaphor, as a warning. She said, and I quote the spirit of it, "Keep this up and you're going to see a civil war between ICE and the National Guard." Then she quoted Jesus. After threatening civil war, she quoted Scripture. That is Mad Maxine in 2025. And then Warren Davidson got the mic. Now, if you don't know this man, understand this is not a career politician who's never left a green room. This is an Army Ranger, a combat veteran, a man who actually served this country. And when he stood up, he did not flinch. He called the premise of Waters' amendment offensive. He called out the Biden administration for fueling an invasion by refusing to secure the border. He named Alejandro Mayorkas by name and said he and his accomplices should be on trial. He said sanctuary cities didn't just allow this, they served as accomplices and are now obstructing justice. And he called it treason, twice, because once wasn't enough. When Waters tried to cut him off, tried to take back the floor mid-sentence, Davidson held his ground. The chair had to step in and remind the entire room the time belongs to the gentleman from Ohio. She couldn't even let the man finish speaking without unraveling. That right there tells you everything you need to know. Here's the truth. Maxine Waters isn't fringe anymore. She is the Democrat Party. She is telling you exactly where they stand. They don't want the border enforced. They don't want ICE doing its job. And when they don't get their way, they start throwing around words like civil war. Davidson said defunding ICE is about as dumb as defunding the police, and Minneapolis wanted to do both. We all saw what happened there. Businesses burned, crime spiked, communities destroyed, and those same people are now lecturing us about a broken window during an ICE raid. This is what it looks like when one party decides the law only applies when it's convenient for them. Warren Davidson saw it, named it, and stood his ground. Now we're naming it too. Like this video right now, share it, subscribe to Uncensored Headlines because YouTube will suppress this, they always do, and drop a comment below. What was the most shocking moment for you in that exchange? Let me know.